Have you ever felt so drained that just the idea of thinking feels like a workout? You know, that feeling that goes way beyond just being sleepy? Well, it has a name: mental exhaustion. And today, we're going to dive into what it is, what causes it, and, most importantly, what you can actually do about it.
So let me ask you this. Is your brain running on empty? If that question hits home for you, trust me, you are not alone. It's that feeling that kind of creeps in when the demands of life just start to overwhelm our ability to keep up. So let's unpack what's really going on under the hood.
All right, first things first. Let's get really clear on what we're actually talking about here. Mental exhaustion is a term that gets thrown around a lot, but it's so much more specific and honestly more complex than just feeling tired after a long day.
At its heart, mental exhaustion is what happens when your brain is just plain overworked. You know, a great way to think about it is like a muscle. If you have long periods of really intense activity, like you're studying for a huge exam, or you're in a high-pressure job, or just constantly worrying, your brain gets fatigued, just like your legs would after running a marathon. It's basically a sign that your brain is desperate for a chance to rest and recharge.
It's also really helpful to separate this from its close cousin, emotional exhaustion. Mental exhaustion, that hits your cognitive gas tank. Think of it as not being able to focus long enough to even read an email. Emotional exhaustion, on the other hand, is when you feel so detached you just can't find the energy to care about what's in that email. Now, they often show up together, but knowing the difference can really help us figure out where the energy drain is coming from.
And the timeline here is key. See, stress is that jolt, right? It's the adrenaline and cortisol that helps you power through and meet a deadline. It's designed to be a short-term thing. Mental exhaustion? Well, that's what happens when that stress switch gets stuck in the on position for weeks, or maybe even months. It's the slow burn that comes from that relentless chronic pressure.
Okay, so we've got a definition, but what does it actually feel like? Recognizing mental exhaustion can be tough because the signs, they're often surprisingly sneaky and can creep into pretty much every part of our lives.
And this is so important to understand. Mental exhaustion is not just in your head. It's a full body, full system issue that shows up in your mind, your body, and your behavior. It goes way beyond just needing a good nap.
So mentally and emotionally, you might feel this persistent sense of dread, or maybe you become really cynical about things you used to love. Simple, everyday tasks can feel totally overwhelming because your ability to concentrate is just shot. You might even find yourself snapping at people more easily. That's your brain basically sending up a flare, signaling that it is overloaded.
And that strain doesn't just stop in your head. Your body keeps the score. Mental exhaustion can show up as real physical symptoms. You might get tension headaches or feel completely exhausted but then find you can't sleep at night. Or maybe you notice you're catching every single cold that goes around. That's your immune system being weakened by all that chronic stress.
And of course, this all spills over into how you act. You might find yourself putting off really important tasks, not because you're lazy, but because you literally do not have the mental energy to even start. You might start canceling plans with friends or find it really hard to keep up with your commitments. These are not character flaws. They are classic behavioral signs of mental fatigue.
So, that's the what. But what about the why? In this next section, we're going to unpack the common triggers that push our brains into this state of complete and utter exhaustion.
A lot of the time, the culprits are just the relentless demands of modern life. Things like a high-pressure job with no breaks, worrying about money, or taking care of a loved one. They all require a massive amount of sustained mental energy. And it's really important to remember, even super positive life events, like having a new baby, can be a huge source of this kind of drain.
And here's a little bit of the science behind it. When stress is constant, your body is just flooded with the stress hormone cortisol. And over time, these high levels start to interfere with everything: your sleep, your digestion, your ability to fight off a simple cold. Your brain never gets the deep, restorative rest it needs to reset and repair itself.
Okay, we have defined the problem and we've looked at the causes. Now for the most important part. What in the world can we do about it? This section is all about actionable strategies to help you finally recharge and start to recover.
So when you need relief like right now, the key is to create some distance. If it's at all possible, just step away from what's causing the stress. Now, this doesn't mean you have to quit your job tomorrow. It could be as simple as taking a real lunch break away from your desk, or delegating just one task, or finally using a vacation day. Even short breaks for something like deep breathing can start to lower those cortisol levels.
This number right here, it is pretty much non-negotiable for recovery.
Sleep is when your brain cleans house. It's when it organizes memories and really truly recharges. Aiming for 7 to 8 hours of good quality sleep each night is honestly one of the most powerful things you can do to fight back against mental exhaustion. But, of course, getting that sleep can feel impossible when you're super stressed. Creating a routine is a great way to signal to your body that it's time to wind down. This simple 3-step process right here is a fantastic place to start. A warm bath, putting the phone away, and dimming the lights, all these things promote relaxation and can seriously improve your sleep quality.
And check this out. This quote from a 2014 study is so key. It might feel completely counterintuitive to exercise when you feel this exhausted, but physical activity is such a powerful stress reliever. It boosts your mood, and, just like the research shows, it builds your emotional resilience, which makes you better equipped to handle stress down the road. Even just a brisk walk can make a huge difference.
Okay, so those strategies are fantastic for recovery, but what about the long game? How do we build up our resilience so this doesn't happen again and again? And just as importantly, when is it time to maybe call for some professional backup?
Prevention is all about building proactive habits. It's about scheduling downtime before you desperately need it. It means actually resting when you're sick instead of trying to power through, and it's about learning the incredibly important skill of saying no to protect your own energy. These are not luxuries, they are essential maintenance for your mental health.
It is also so important to remember this. Therapy is not just for crisis. A therapist can be an amazing ally, helping you identify your own specific stress triggers and teaching you personalized coping strategies before you hit a breaking point. Think of it as a powerful tool for building up your resilience.
So if you're looking at this list right now and you find yourself nodding along to a few of these points, it might be time to reach out. If the exhaustion just won't go away and it's making it hard to function at work or at home, or if you're starting to feel hopeless, a professional can really provide the support and guidance you need to get back on track.
So, let's end with this question. You don't have to solve everything all at once. What's one small step you can take today to recharge? Maybe it's taking a 15-minute walk. Maybe it's saying no to one small request. Or maybe it's just turning off your phone an hour before bed. What's one small, manageable step you can take starting today to give your brain the break it so clearly deserves?